So Democrats used to oppose monopolies only for like 100 years. By the way, if it's left to this show to oppose monopolies, something has gone very wrong. By the way, it was just last year the Republicans, joined by Democrats, issued a joint statement condemning antitrust abuses by companies like Google and Amazon. One person who supported that is Tulsi Gabbard. She still does. She's a former Democratic congresswoman from Hawaii, and she joins us tonight to tell us what happened. Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. So this used to be literally from the progressive era until yesterday was at the center of the Democratic Party's identity. We're against monopolies. When did that change and why?
Well, first of all, let's just be clear from the outset, as we're seeing now, once again, how dangerous these big tech monopolies are and how imperative it is that we break them up, that we actually bring about solutions to break up the power that they have amassed. I think the important thing is that we do this through legislative changes and reforms, not through throwing Molotov cocktails and having riots. And this is where all of us come into play, that we as voters, we need to make sure that we are choosing leaders who are motivated by serving the American people, upholding our constitutional freedoms and upholding our democracy, more than being motivated by selfish interests and how do I please my big tech monopoly donors. And this is where, I think that there's a lot of hopelessness right now in wondering, how do we do this? Hope can be found in recognizing the power in our own voices as voters, that we really do get to choose who holds these high offices of power, and that we can make that decision by saying, hey, you need to be someone who I'm confident is committed to serving the best interests of the American people, who's committed to upholding our constitutional rights and freedoms. And you're not one of these people, these politicians who've existed for so long and have been a part of the problem because they're so addicted to getting this money from these big tech monopolies. And therefore, no matter how much noise they make about how, hey, this is a bad thing, when it comes right down to it, they don't actually do what it takes to make the changes necessary to work for us, the American people.
I don't understand why more people aren't outraged by censorship. If Nancy Pelosi was shut down, censored, silenced, erased from the internet tomorrow, I don't care for Nancy Pelosi's views. I would swear as God watches I would defend her. Trump, whatever you think of what he said, some of it I don't like, everybody, this is great. I support this. People who should, Ro Khanna, who's like a very smart guy, he's in favor of censorship. Like, what is this?
It's really disheartening to see how people are so inward looking at only supporting the voices of those who agree with them rather than recognizing the country that our founders envisioned for all of us. And as you know, we've talked about this before. As a soldier, this is something that I take to heart in a very deep way, like every other service member, that we take an oath to uphold our Constitution, to support and defend it, which includes supporting the freedom of speech of every single person in this country, whether we agree with that speech or not, whether that speech offends us or not. That is at the heart of this country and who we are as Americans. And we all must stand up and support that and make sure that we pressure our leaders to do the same.
Amen. Otherwise, what are people dying for? I couldn't agree more. So nicely put. Tulsi Gabbard, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Tucker.